contact. And as we reach up, the teachers are reaching down to meet us, and we're making the contact. Thank you, Father. Good evening, my dear ones. This is Don, your doorkeeper to this higher realms of love and light. It is my privilege to be with you this evening and to bring you the message. And we will talk tonight about change. This is a very important subject, especially at this time in your evolution of this planet. My dear ones, change is inevitable with your becoming. As you become the Christ Spirit within you and raise your consciousness, you know that you have to change your thinking patterns, your feelings, your moods, your attitudes. You have to rise above this physical plane and all the negativity and the negative vibrations of this physical plane. Your mind is open for this, and you are moving upward every day. Each one in this circle tonight is sincere in their becoming that which you truly are, that which you have always been. You are now and always will be. You are God's. And as you move higher in consciousness to bring this full realization of this understanding and bring forth the Christ Spirit within you to manifest the Christ on the physical plane, this is a beautiful time for you. As your planet moves higher in consciousness, there will be no need for doctors, hospitals, for jails or armies, and very little need for government. For you see, my dear ones, as the planet moves higher in consciousness, the entities who incarnate on this planet will have to be higher in consciousness. And they will be the type of entities that will know the truth within themselves, and they will have worked through these things as you move into this golden age. Now let me remind you that this age is 2,000 years, and the first 1,000, it has been predicted, will be the time of so much change. But if you decide, the ones of you who are working towards this and know the truth now, can move higher in consciousness in a quicker time, a shorter time, then the time can be speeded up. Every day, your planet is moving higher and is accelerating in the rays and its vibrations. Every day, you are learning new things. You're bringing new things into your consciousness, greater understanding, more light to see by. Every day, my dear ones, as your sun, as your planet revolves and the sun appears to set and to rise, you are moving higher. And you will continue to do this. I know that sometimes you feel that you have not moved very high, that you will fall back at times. But even these times, my dear ones, are times when you will be on the upswing and will be making progress. My dear one, would you hand Donald this cup of water that's on the
Yeah.
Do you know what that's on it?
what?
Thank you, Shriek.
Excuse me for a minute as we go back in. Yes, I am back now. I apologize for the problem with the throat, and this is an overuse of Donald's throat that he has not been used to in his earlier life, and it was not prepared for to, in this body, to do this kind of work. As some of you know, his time has been extended and was not planned to be in the physical this long. But that is another subject. Tonight we are talking about change, and change is inevitable for those who are moving into the higher consciousness. Changes are being made in your world, and you can see some of the governments that are moving higher into the understanding that you have in your country. They will each do this in their own way, for they have their culture and their background and their patterns to follow. But I tell you, there will come a day, and it will be perhaps a few hundred years, and perhaps not, for I should not judge and set a time on this. But in your golden age, you have the 2,000 years that you're working with. It's actually 2,100 and some odd years, but you have now been in it for a few years. And as you move higher in consciousness, as the planet is lifted up, and I would stop to explain this to those who may not be aware of this and will hear this tape, that the vibrations are being accelerated on your planet, and this is the particular time in this particular golden age where your planet will be lifted up to a self-illuminating star, as your sun is now. Your sun and another sun vibrations are now hitting this planet, and this is causing the acceleration. In your past 100 years, you have made more technological advance than in all of your known history to you. And so this is because of these extra vibrations. Now, in another time, and I am told not to be specific about this, there will be another sun, and so there will be 3 suns, vibrations hitting your planet, and this will bring your planet up to a self-illuminating star instead of the dark reflecting planet that it is now. If you were out in space without the sun, your sun now, past your sun, you would not be able to see your planet because it does not give off light as your stars do in the sky. When you look in your sky at night, you see the light where the other suns are, the other stars. And as your planet is lifted up, then it will be illuminated and give off its light from within itself. And this is, in a sense, like being Christed. And I would remind you, my dear ones, that your planet is an entity just as you are. This has been told to you several times, but there will be some who hear this tape who will not hear the other tapes. And so it should be recorded that your planet is a living entity, and there may be a day when or a point in consciousness, I should say, that you might play the part of giving life force to a planet, just as the entity of this planet is giving its life force to this planet. And this planet is mothering you. It provides you with everything that your physical body needs, your physical self needs. And as you move through your golden age, you will find that many, many changes will come about. Changes that you now, at this moment, are not even considering or thinking about. Many changes as you move toward the center point or 1,000 year of your golden age, you will find that there will be changes that your mind at this point has not imagined yet on your planet. Now, as we talk about this, let us think of the reason for this message tonight. The message is about change. And as you move higher in consciousness, you must continually change your thinking patterns. What you thought a year ago, 10 years ago, you do not think now. You have different thoughts. And what you will think in 20 years from now will be much different. But let us consider and move this forward and think about what you will think in 200 or 300 years from now if you continue to grow, if you continue to move upward in consciousness. And it is strongly felt that each one in this circle of light will continue to move higher in consciousness. Think for a moment what a drastic change in that length of time with the acceleration of the vibrations raising on your planet are doing. Think what your planet will be like 300-400 years from now. Do you think you will still have what you call automobiles? I think not. What do you think your mode of transportation will be? This is something to consider, my dear ones, for in your experiences on other planets, and all of you have come from other planets and have manifested on other planets in the past, you have been very high in consciousness, and the planet has been much, much farther along in a technological way than your planet is now, or has been in the past. Could I have some of this, Chris? Cricket. Thank you. As you understand that the changes that are coming about are for your best good. And I tell you now that at the time that some of these changes come about, you may not think so, because you may judge them to be bad. You may judge them to be too much. But here is a truth, my dear ones. God will never put on you more than you can take, more than you can handle. And as you project into your future, if you could see it from a very high point of view, you would see that the changes will be drastic relative to what they have been in your past, in your known history, shall we say, and what they are to you now. Change is sometimes wrenching, sometimes uncomfortable to those who resist it. This is one of the main points that I want to make in this lesson tonight, is what the Master said to you: resist not evil, but overcome evil with good. And let us change the word evil to anything. Resist not, period. Resist not anything. Resist not change. When you resist change, then you become tense, do you not? And if your resistance continues, then your tension becomes more. And so you, instead of raising your consciousness with the planet, you are lowering your consciousness by resisting the changes. Let us look at your world conditions at this moment. There are many changes coming about, and for the past, since this century began and even before, the changes have been very rapid relative to what you have known in your known history, and they will continue to accelerate. They will continue to be larger changes, greater changes, more rapid. And as you look at them and think about them, try not to judge, but to realize that the changes have to come in order to reach this higher state of consciousness that your planet is bound for. Let us pause here and see if you have some questions that you would like to ask.
Yes, I have a question. Do you think that we could help Earth go higher, spiritual?
Yes. Cricket, my dear one, you are helping Earth every day when you send God's love to it. And it is something that you should consider in your things that you send God's love to. Send love to this planet. And of course, try to eliminate, do what you can to eliminate the pollution. Now, there are billions of people on your planet, and so you might think, well, I'm just one individual. But my dear ones, you are very powerful. And if you use this power, you can bring about great changes. You can influence the entities on this planet with the power of God's love. You can influence the planet and the spirit of the planet. You have much, much more power than you realize. And if you clean up your act, as you say, and get your negative thinking out of the way, clean house in your subconscious, and eliminate those fearful thoughts, then you can be a much more powerful channel for God to work through. And as you send love to the planet, to everyone on the planet, and to the new age that you are moving into, send love ahead into this new age. Every day you are moving into it more. You are in it now, and it will continue to change and move forward, whether you do or not. This message tonight is to help you to understand that you must be willing and ready to change as the conditions on the planet changes. Some of you may stay in the body much longer than has it been in the past, just to serve and to be here at the time that these great changes will, how should I say it, They will continue to change, but they will become much greater. And so if there are few who have the understanding and who can be here in the physical, they can have much more power than we do when we're in the spirit. This is difficult for you to understand, and it is difficult for you to realize that the power that you have in the physical, as far as being a channel for God to work through, is much more powerful than we are when we're in spirit. Can I do one of Donald's things and ask you to think about this and consider and maybe answer why that you have more power in the physical than we do in spirit, as far as sending love and influencing the planet and the people on your physical level?
I should like to be doing that.
Speak louder, would you please?
I should like to be helping people find their gun selves and their own gun power.
Yes. And by sending God's love into the planet and to everyone on it, you are helping automatically. But I would like for you to understand that free will is involved in everything that we do. Now, we are on a particular dimension, a particular level. You are on the physical level. You are inhabitants of this physical level. And you have the free will that you have is much more than we have. Think, my dear ones, if you will, that the consciousness that we have on these planes of love and light is much higher than the average entity on your planet. And you are inhabitants right now of this planet. So you have much more power to influence this plane than we do. Now, if you ask us to work through you, then we can lend our power with your power. I think that you have been told that Donald has been given inspiration to send love in different ways. And one of the ways that he has been inspired to do recently is to send love unlabeled, multiplied many times by God's heavenly host. And that means us, the ones on these higher dimensions of love and light, the ones that serve God. Now, when you ask this, my dear ones, then we can add our force to your force and multiply it many times. There are many things that can be done when you open your mind and your hearts, when you go within, to take the time each day to have that quiet time and go within to talk to God within you and open the doors to your mind to be inspired, to have greater understanding, to be enriched by this universe filled with wisdom. There is no limit to what you can bring in to your understanding. The only limit is what you put upon it, my dear ones. And if you let your imagination, the magic genie within you, move into a higher level and open the door to let us impress you, and ask for the impression, not from just anyone, my dear ones, but from those of love and light, from those beings of divine love and light. Ask to be impressed and open your minds and your hearts. You will be amazed at how much can come through. And if you will record it by writing it down or putting it on tape so that you remember it and continue to do this, you will grow and have greater power to help the planet to move higher in consciousness. God bless you, my dear one, Cricket, for bringing this to our attention. You see how much we have learned from just one question? Are there any other questions?
Color was just the thought of the slaughter in China, and then the Supreme Court ruling that our flag could be burned, and all of a sudden now everybody is coming back to the coming patriot.
Yes, these
4th of July yesterday celebration, and you can just tell the difference in people and speeches.
yes, in other words, you are seeing the difference. You are seeing the changes coming about. Yes, and they will continue to come about, and they will not always seem to be pleasant. But I tell you, they have to move at their own pace, in their own way, according to the consciousness of the countries and the people of those countries. Be patient with yourself, and try not to judge, but to just send God's love and release them to God, and ask that this power be multiplied many times by God's heavenly host. There is much, much that we can do when we can work through you. This may be difficult for you to understand, because some of you place us upon a pedestal and think that we are so much higher than you. My dear ones, we are all equal in the sight of God. Maybe we have moved a little faster in growing in consciousness and have freed ourselves from the lower dimensions, but in the sight of God we are all His children, and in true reality we are no higher than you. You have all the understanding that we have. We have just made ourselves more available to it. And as you move higher in consciousness and take advantage of these things that we are explaining to you, then you can take advantage of the opportunities to move more rapidly and to grow. There are many things that could explain some of this. For example, in your past, when the wheel was invented, it made a big difference in your culture and in your civilization, did it not? And then many other things were invented, and these were changes that came about on your planet. I tell you, my dear ones, that there are room for many, many other changes. These changes can come about when you open your minds to them. And as a few people bring about a new invention, a new way of thinking, an understanding, then with the light of understanding and the power of God's love and us working through you, this can spread. It can spread like the students in China. They got the idea from other countries that they wanted to be free to think as they would. And so it is started now. And as some of them have said, it will not stop. The old ones will die out, and the new understanding will come, and the freedom will be there in a few years, because it has started, and the seed has been planted, and this seed will be nurtured and watered, and with your sending God's love and allowing us to help you, these seeds can grow much faster. Are there other questions this evening?
We offer gratitude that they have taken notice of the Chinese people and are working along that line.
Yes. We who work with your planet are working with all the people of your planet, and our heart reaches out to everyone. We yearn to help much, much more, but until the minds and the hearts are opened up, we cannot invade the free will. And this is where you can help by sending God's love and letting it be multiplied many times with our help. Then this continuous bombardment, you might say, of God's love on these entities of this planet, and send love into all the entities of the planet every day, several times a day, and all those connected with the planet. For my dear ones, there are many more who are connected with your planet than are in the physical. And then send love to all those who, all the trouble spots in the world, to all those involved in the trouble spots, to all the world leaders, to all those connected with the world leaders. These are key things to send God's love to help your planet make a smoother transition into the changes that come about in your golden age. There are many small groups such as you all over the world, as you have been told, and this is where the real power, spiritual power, lies, not in your organized religion, although there is power there and there is help with your organized religion, but the real power is in the small groups such as you who have opened your mind up and have not limited your thinking into a rut such as most of your organized religions are. And when you all work together, sending love every day continuously and allowing it to build and to find new things to send God's love into and to allow it to be multiplied many times, then things will go smoother. The changes will be easier, and you will find that as you send this love, it also helps you greatly. Are there other questions that you would ask?
The change come about in China now?
The order is a very important thing in the universe. Life is made up of the same thing as music is made of: order, harmony, rhythm, and balance. So let us take an example. When you go to school, you have to learn to add and subtract before you divide and multiply, do you not? And it is the same with your universe, with life in your universe. It is the same with your planet. We could not, God would not, and just zap his energy into making the golden age complete at this moment, because the entities on your planet could not stand it. The higher vibrations of the golden age, a few hundred years from now, no one on your planet except a few masters could stand those vibrations. And so you see, it has to be a gradual thing, and everyone has to have their opportunity. You who are in the physical now are at a certain level of consciousness. The next generations, such as Cricket coming along here, is at another level of consciousness, and so on. And as you graduate from this planet, in between your incarnations, or if you stay in the planet and grow rapidly, then you will stay with the vibrations of the planet. And then the entities who are studying and preparing themselves to come in at the highest point of your new age, and there are many who are working right now on these dimensions to come into your plane and be incarnate in your plane, to bring the higher vibrations, to be in places of leadership, to be in places that can make the difference. Do you understand?
Yes. It's just they've had all these millions of years and they've never been great people and independent. Yes.
Yes, but now their changes are coming rapidly. Yes, would you speak loudly, please?
Yes. Don't we have to raise the animals also and watch out for their lions? They're all treated very viciously.
Yes, my dear one, you have a tender spot in your heart for the animals, and this is true, and this is creating karma for those who are treating the animals in the way that they are. And they will have to balance this. They will have to come back in other incarnations and balance these vibrations, and it will work out. My dear Cricket, would you get some more water, please? I apologize for Donald's throat and the condition of this evening, but Donald has made an agreement to place himself here, if at all possible, no matter how the body is vibrating at. And when we can raise his vibrations with, as he opens up to love and light, then we can come through. Sometimes the message will not be quite as good as other times. And this is the reason, my dear ones, is because the body is at a lower level than usual. And so when you understand this, it helps to not judge that, oh, this was so much better tonight than other nights, or it was not quite as good. It is not our fault, or it is not Donald's fault. He is doing the best that he can at this time. And you should send him love daily, because he is having a struggle to stay in the physical this extra length of time. He may not have agreed with my telling you this, but I think it is important that you understand that he is on extended time and has agreed to stay in the physical, to do this work and to be this open channel. And it is not always easy for him, but he is determined, and we are determined to help him. And with your sending him love each day, this will help. Are there other questions this evening?
The idea of all of us having free will, tying into what you said earlier about how your spirit level is just waiting to offer us any assistance to channeling in any way they can as soon as we allow it to come through us. Does the separation there, as far as you mentioned the power that we have is so much more than yours if we would just allow your power to mix with ours?
This is the idea. You see, the more positive, loving, constructive thoughts that you think, more of the time, as you clean house, in other words, and get your channel more open and eliminate the garbage, as you say, that's in there, then we can work through you much better. And this is why the program that Donald teaches starts with the basic things, is to clean house, for it is very important that you continue, even after you have taken the basic classes, to continue to keep your house in order and to keep balance and harmony within yourself and with the planet and with each other. And as you do this and then ask for our help, we can do much. We can do great things, much more than you can imagine at this time. We are pleased with your progress and with the way that you are moving higher in consciousness. We are pleased with the ones who have come to the center and who have grown, and there are many, many more than you know of in this circle who have grown and gone on to other things and are continuing to grow. There are a few who will reach the Christ consciousness in this golden age, and you will know who you are. There are some in this circle who have the possibility of reaching the Christ consciousness. You all have the potential, but it depends on how much attention you give to this work and to keeping your house clean, to keeping yourself in alignment with the divine laws of life. And this is not easy when you first begin, because the world pulls at you. The negativity of the world continues to pull at you until you reach a level, my dear ones, where you are allowing us to help you more, where you are allowing the door to be more open and asking for help more. And this is the reason for this circle of light and this contact with you weekly, is to help you to understand how much more that you can do. And each one of these sessions has given you a certain enlightenment of how you can bring about more rapid growth, accelerate your growth, and move into a place where you turn loose of the illusionary thinking and you understand, you have the realization of your divinity. Does this answer your question?
Yes, partly, I guess.
What was the other?
Other area was the idea of, I guess the answer is yes, is what I get out of it, but the separation of the spirit not being able to help us until we allow it is part of the balance that is set up by God.
Let's not use the word separation. We think that we are separate, but we are truly not. But as we allow the door to be open and give our free will back to God, you see, this is the ultimate. God has given us free will, and when we can completely give that free will back to Him and say, Father, manifest through me in all your glory, and you are able to do this and have the level of consciousness to allow this to manifest through you, then you are indeed a long way down the road of your growth.
You spoke of that, though, about with me be having automobiles later on. in that man who lived in Scottsdale and went over to India in 1894, he told of their traveling in a moment's notice that a few of those people in India
Yes.
really traveling that way when we get enough speed.
Yes, whenever you become master of yourself. These were masters, as they are called, and a master is one who has mastered themselves, who has mastered your thinking and your mind to where you know who you truly are and are not limiting yourself in any way. Then you have dominion. And your book, the Bible, talks about having dominion over the earth, over the air, over everything. It has been given man to have dominion, but you first, you see, must have dominion over yourself. You are your only enemy, my dear ones. And when you understand this, and when you allow God's love and light to penetrate into your being to the point that you understand, that you have the realization of this, then you and God are one, even in thought. You are always one. You always have been one. But God has given you the freedom to think as you will. And when you give that free will back to God, then you are one with God, even in thought. And you know and are as God is completely. Does this help your understanding? Yes. It is not always easy to convey these truths in your language because it is so limiting, but we do our best, and we enjoy it. We take great pleasure in coming to you on these weekly sessions. And I would remind you that there are many, many here tonight, many of your loved ones, and many who come to learn as you are learning from this side of the veil. Remember to send them love also, and to prepare for your Wednesday night sessions by sending love into the time of channeling, sending love into all who come in the physical and the spirit. You see, there are so many things to send love to that you may not have given thought to. There are many, many more things, and they will come to you as you raise your consciousness. Are there other thoughts this evening? Other questions?
The Bible speaks of the millennium. Is that considered part of the New Age, or where's the juxtaposition? I mean, I don't know. Can you discuss that a little bit?
In your language, it is difficult to always hit everything on the mark as it was meant when it was written. Does not millennia mean a period of time?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And in the Bible, what they're discussing, it's in the book of Revelation, they're discussing the fact that it's time of peace and unity and love, and it's about 1,000 years.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And what would you determine a millennia to be? How many years? 1,000 years. Yes. And let's quiz you a little bit more to ask you again to repeat what you said.
What I was asking was what we're talking about. You're talking about the changes that are going to occur in the next
2,000 years.
2,000 years as we progress. And my question has to do with the Bible refers to a time of peace and unity and love, a time in which mankind, in essence, will be among Christ.
Yes.
I perceive it.
Yes.
And I guess it appears to me that it has something to do with this age and time.
Yes. And you see, the first 1,000 years of the new age, the golden age, will be the time of change that we're talking about tonight. And then the second 1,000 years will be the heaven on earth, or so it was planned. Now, it all depends on man's free will and what man does with his free will. If you will remember the tape that Donald played about Atlantis, and the instrument that it came through talked about that was their time of an ending time, their time of graduating from this dimension. And we're speaking about most of you in this room. You were the people of Atlantis, and you slipped, you see. This has happened many, many times. There has been great preparation this time to make it happen, but it still depends on you and those who understand the truth to keep the light shining brightly on this planet so that the darkness cannot come in and interrupt the plans that were made for you. Does this help your understanding?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
In the Bible, it speaks in Revelation about not adding anything to the Bible or taking anything away from it. Well, don't people grow through the Spirit by listening to the Spirit? And did God expect them just to stop with Revelation?
No, this is a misunderstanding. And as you heard on your tape that you played the other night, I believe that it was said, or at least someone, one tape, it was said it was a mistake, that was all that was for the book of Revelations, not for everything, see, not for anything else to be written. As you move higher in consciousness, you will do away with your language, and this will enhance your spiritual growth so much more than you can imagine right now, because the communication from our dimension to your dimension can be instantaneous, and you will blossom and grow and bloom as a beautiful flower almost overnight, it would seem. It will be years, of course, but to us on these higher dimensions, we do not think of time. And the higher you go, the faster time seems to speed up when you are thinking in the terms of time, until you are not involved with time at all. See, until the past, the present, and the future all become one in your consciousness. Then you are free of this concept of duality. Then you are free of the illusions of this physical plane. And it will be so much easier to communicate these things to you, and to, even in our communication at this time, it is a little distorted at times because of the limitations of the language. Are there other questions?
Thank you for what you said.
Yeah.
I was confused. It didn't make sense to me the way I thought it would interpret it.
Yes.
The time you speak of where we'll do away with our language, can a person, such as myself, relate to the idea of, like, when I would speak to somebody, for some reason we would happen to already know what we were thinking. Is this what is going to happen, only so much more automatically?
Yes.
Like now at times I can be like, dumbfounded by the idea that I would think, be so in tune with somebody like that, it will just become natural.
Yes, it will be natural. Just as speaking is natural now, and that will be natural. It will be some time before this comes about, because there are many entities on your plane right now that are demonstrating darkness, they have to have their time. They have to be allowed opportunity to come out of the darkness, and a few of them will. How many, we cannot say, because it is up to them. But you see, if you will think about it, there are many of your famous people who have taken drugs or who have gone in the wrong direction and then made an about face, and then they start helping other people to understand that they do not need to take drugs and so on. So as this time goes by and as they are given the opportunity, this is the time for them to have this opportunity. And if they do not get it, they will go to another planet similar to what your planet has been and have other opportunities there. But there are many who will come out of the darkness, especially as you continue to send love and the small groups around the planet who are sending love and being an open channel for God to work through. Does this help your understanding?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
In going back to the changes that you're talking about that are happening in the world today, it seems like overnight and without any prior anticipation, the outlook of the Soviet Union for the United States has changed dramatically. And not wanting to appear negative, but realizing that there is still darkness on this planet. I'm curious to know how we determine those who are true allies and friends from those who aren't, because you think back to statements that were made, such as at the end of World War II, where they said they would gain control over the United States without ever dropping a bomb, and those types of statements. And you look at what's happening now and you wonder, is this a true change of heart, or is this something hidden behind a veil of deceit to gain confidence and change the way that the United States?
Yes, I understand, my dear one. And let me say this to you, that this change of this one man was planned for many years. This plan was in the making for many years, and it seemed to happen overnight, but it did not. And the bringing about of the freedom of these cultures and these countries will not happen overnight either. They will have struggle